Okay, starting 6.2a, law of cosines. Now there are two cases of oblique triangles that the application of the law of sines does not solve, but the law of cosines does. Alright, so the two cases are when you're given three sides, or you're given two sides and their included angle, meaning this. Let me give you an example. You're given this side, and this angle. All right. The included angle means the angle made up by the two sides that you know. All right. Now for law of sines, there are three variations to the law of sines. Okay, depending on what you're looking for. Now, let's do an example where we apply the law of cosines. Find the three angles of triangle ABC. Okay. Now the first angle we want to find is the largest angle. All right. Because that keeps issues from arising that we'll dive into later. Okay, but rule of thumb, for SSS, find the largest angle first. Now, where is largest angle? Well, it's across from the largest side. Okay, so I'll call this C, and I'll call this A, and this is little b. Okay, so use this variation of the law of sines here. So I have c squared is equal to a squared plus b squared minus 2ab cosine capital C. Okay, so plugging in all the information I have 12 squared is equal to 6 squared plus 8 squared minus 2 times 6 times 8 cosine of C. Okay, now we just have to isolate cosine of C. So I subtract 6 squared over, and then I subtract 8 squared over, and I divide by negative 2, 6, and 8. And that gives me this. And notice the signs of everything switch because I divided by this negative here. Okay, cosine of C. All right, so I just moved everything over. That's all I did. All right, simple algebra. All right, to isolate cosine of C. All right. Now the next step, I simplify and I get negative 0.458 is equal to cosine of C. All right, and then I take the inverse cosine of both sides and I end up with this. All right, when I take the inverse cosine of the right side, the cosine disappears and I'm left with the measurement of angle C, all right, which is 117.26 degrees. Okay, got that. All right, now I'm going to figure out angle B. So I have 12, and the angle across from it is what I just found, which is 117.26 degrees. And that's equal to 8 over sine of B. Okay, so I cross multiply, and I get 8 sine of 117.26 over 12 is equal to sine of B. All right, and I have sine of B is equal to 0.593. And once again, I take the inverse sine of both sides to isolate B, so I get measurement of angle B is equal to inverse sine of 0.593, which is equal to 36.37 degrees. All right, now to figure out the third angle, I don't have to do anything else. You just subtract the two angles that you just obtained from 180 to figure out measurement of angle A. Alright, so there's a bit of a process for figuring out all the information, but it's not that difficult. Okay, so we start off with law of cosines, then we applied the law of sines, and then we just subtracted the two angles we got from 180 to get the third angle. Alright, let's move on to another example. Okay, here I have a side angle side situation. So I'm going to apply the law of cosines. This is my A, this is B, that's C. So I have A squared is equal to B squared plus C squared minus 2BC cosine of A. Alright, plugging in all the information I have, A squared is equal to 16 squared plus 12 squared minus 2 times 16 times 12 cosine of 80 degrees. Alright, so I have the square root of A squared, which is the right side. When I simplify everything, I get 333.32. Alright, so for A, I end up with approximately 18.26. Alright. Alright, now I could use that with the law of sines. So 18.26 over sine of 80 degrees is equal to, let's figure out B. 16 over the sine of B. Alright, so I cross multiply, and I have 18.26 sine of B is equal to 16 sine of 80 degrees. Then I divide by 18.26. And that's equal to 0.863. And now what do you do to isolate the angle? Correct, you take the inverse sine of both sides. Alright, so that's gone. You're just left the measurement of angle B, and that's equal to 59.66 degrees. And then I have to figure out measurement of angle C. So you simply subtract the two angle measurements from 180, which is 40.34 degrees. Done. All right, if you have any questions, please make sure to ask. Begin the assignment at the bottom of the webpage.